2024, I made the decision to sign the lease to my very first apartment and moving out of my parents' place for the very first time. I made a couple of mistakes. Apartment, and it was about 30% over my intended budget. Utilities, which was about $200 plus every single month. I'm here to tell you about your other option, renting a house, and what that looks like and which one would be better for you. We're going to talk all the way from budgeting and finance to roommate living circumstances. Let's start with a quick little definition. What does it mean to live in an apartment versus renting a room within a house? So when you're living in an apartment, we have equal rights over every single living quarter. So that could mean the kitchen space, that could mean the living room space. You decided that each of your rooms are going to be each of your rooms. So when it comes to living in a house, obviously you have complete control over the room that you're renting, and the bathroom that comes with it may or may not come with it. The lease owner gets major decision over how other spaces outside of your personal room is going to be shared. Start off by talking into money, and then we're going to move on to talking about what the living circumstances have been like. According to SoFi, Wallet Hub, and Investopia, you should be spending less than 30% as a general rule of your pre-tax income into rent. This includes your utilities, whether that be your BGE, your water bill, and also your rent combined. So since me and my roommate were looking for an apartment near Silver Spring and PG County, with the apartment that we decided to lease with, our rent was about $2,650 a month. And then there was also indoor parking that we were obliged to get because there's limited street parking, which was about $120 a month. And then water and trash and etc. came out to be $50. Pepco, which was our electricity bill, came out to be about $180 to $200 per month. Total, me and my roommate each were spending at least $1,600 a month. So with the second option, which is living inside a house and renting a room with its own personal bathroom, my rent comes up to about $1,000 a month. Internet is about $35 a month. Our BGE is about $120. The water is billed every 3 months, and it's about $60 in a month. And so since I have 2 roommates, all of that is split between 3 people. And so utilities with internet included comes up to $70 a month. Rent is $1,000 a month. So total, I'm spending $1,070, or at least below $1,100 per month. So if you compare that, you can see that I am saving at least $500 a month. So now that we know the finances, let's talk about what it's really like living on each option, what the drawbacks are, and is it really worth it? There are 3 pros that we're going to talk about with living in an apartment. The first is the amenities, the second is the maintenance, and then the third is the shared power and the power of a lease. So when you're living in an apartment, let's talk about amenity. When you're living in an apartment, the amenities that you often have access to include your gym, your laundry, your fitness centers that are all within the unit, secure parking, secure packaging. The second amenity that we're going to talk about is maintenance. Maintenance is in if something breaks, maintenance team is right across the hall, included within the apartment fee. You're not charged for any of the little inconvenience. Third is shared power and responsibility. Everyone who signs the lease has clear rules and tenant rights. So the cons, on the other hand, of living in an apartment include rent increases, less privacy, and limited space. Okay, every time you renew your lease with an apartment, usually there's spikes and increases, the amount that you are expected to pay every month, and usually they are going up. The second is less privacy. When you're renting an apartment, you have someone usually living above you, below you, to the side of you. Sometimes you may have noisy children. You have to be cautious about how loudly you're walking on the floor. You're not bothering the people below you. The third and the last one is limited space. If you're lucky, you might rent an apartment that comes with a storage space separate from the unit that you're living in, but a lot of times there is limited storage for the extra stuff, for that bike that you have, for that TV, for the extra fridge. So a con with living in an apartment is limited space and not having enough storage to put your extra belongings into.